Hello everyone, my name is Effylmimer, and today we're going to be looking at 3 of the most prominent games in the MOBA genre: League of Legends, Heroes of Newerth, and Dota 2. Now the purpose of this video is not for me to discern which is a better game, but more of a guide to help players find which game suits them. Now let me say, there may be somewhat of a personal bias. I've never actually played League of Legends for leisure, and have quite a bit of playtime in Heroes of Newerth. But with that being said, there are positives and negatives to each game, and without further ado, this is what I found. First, let's take a look at the business models. Each of these games are free to play, meaning everybody has a chance to access them, but how they handle the free to play model is very different. Let's look at League of Legends. There are 110 total heroes in League of Legends, but free to play players are only allowed access to 10 at a time on a rotating schedule every week. That means if you find a hero that you like, the only way to have access to him permanently is to unlock him, either via in-game currency or rift points, the real money currency. The highest I've seen rift points for a hero is 975 rift points, which is roughly about $8 or so. You can also buy skins, announcers, boosts, and runes, which are actually specific to League of Legends that I will talk about later, that all vary in price. Heroes of Newerth in its current iteration has no purchasing of heroes, but rather skins, taunts, announcer voices, couriers, and other vanity items for your account. These all vary in price, with some of the highest being, again, 975 gold coins, which roughly equates to somewhere in between $15 and $20. Dota 2 has a similar system to Heroes of Newerth, where you don't buy heroes, but vanity items for your characters, such as their weapons, their skins, and their taunts. However, Dota 2 has one significant difference between the other two games, and that's that you use real money to buy your items rather than an in-game currency such as rift points or gold coins. This means you spend exactly how much is priced on the item and no more. You don't have to buy 150 coins to buy something that costs 75. Now, a lot of Dota 2 items can get pretty expensive, but that blow is somewhat cushioned by the fact that you have a chance of getting a random item after each match. And every time your battle rank increases, you are assured to get one item. I have to say that Dota 2 has the best business model of the 3 games. When you think about it, the heroes are the only mechanic that these games really have, and having to buy them just doesn't sit well with me. Next up, we have design and mechanics. Now, for all intents and purposes, these games are pretty much the same, but this section is going to highlight the little nuances that make each game unique. Heroes of Newerth started out as basically a carbon copy of Dota, but since then there have been various changes to the design and the mechanics that make it its own unique game. One of the biggest being the built-in guides that you can follow for each hero, as well as an auto-leveling system so that you don't have to pick out your own skills. They also did away with the secret shops in the middle of either side of the map in favor for an observatory where you can buy observer wards, health potions, and mana potions. Among the differences between the games, there's one shining example from Heroes of Newerth that I just can't understand why the other 2 games don't have, and that is the 15-minute concede button. At 15 minutes, if you think your team is going to lose, you have the option to cast a vote to concede the game so you don't have to sit through another 45 minutes of pain and suffering. Along with these changes, Heroes of Newerth also offers 5 different maps, one of which is called Mid-Wars, a nonsense map where all 10 heroes are funneled into one middle lane and have to battle it out to get to each other's nexus. This fun and goofy game type is a welcomed addition, and it helps to break up the monotony in what is otherwise an extremely frustrating genre. Dota 2 sticks closer to its predecessor's roots, keeping old mechanics like the secret shop that the other 2 games have done away with, make it feel a little bit more familiar when people are jumping from Dota 1 to Dota 2. Dota 2 has no new heroes, which may be a sore spot for some people, and only having one map makes it feel like there's a little bit less content than the other 2 games. But do keep in mind that Dota 2 is still in beta. That's not to say that Dota 2 hasn't made any changes. The addition of the radial wheel is a godsend. Being able to press Y in a direction to call missing in your lane is something that every MOBA game needs. League of Legends by far has the most changes from the original Dota, the most notable being the removal of denying. Denying is when you kill your own creeps to deny your enemy experience and gold. Each hero has 4 active skills and 1 passive ability. That means that all 4 of your skills have to be activated by you to have an effect, and there's no such thing as a passive ability. Along with this, all of the items that you pick up are also passive and increase your attack power or your spell power, allowing casters to scale a little bit better into the late game. League of Legends has also done away with the micromanaging heroes like the notoriously hard to play Chen from Dota 2 or Ophelia from Heroes of Newerth. That means that you only ever control your character at all times. There are 3 notable changes to League of Legends that I think make the metagame drastically different from the other 2 games. The first being the addition of Brush, tall magical grass that makes you invisible to all enemies who aren't also in the grass with you. This brush mechanic, along with the fact that you don't lose gold upon death, and you have a built-in teleport back to your base simply by hitting the B key, gives League of Legends a much more aggressive vibe than the other 2 games. There's also one major difference between League of Legends and the other 2 games, and that is managing your summoner. Your summoner allows you to equip runes, which are minor boosts to your character's attack, defense, speed, things like that, and allows you to allocate points into masteries, which are essentially talents from World of Warcraft. Last but certainly not least, let's talk about the most important part, the gameplay. These are the small ups and downs that I noticed while playing each of the 3 games. Dota 2 has the advantage of being the most recent of the 3 games, as well as still being in production. A lot of the kinks can be worked out during beta, and it definitely feels the smoothest thanks to the newer engine that it runs on. You can feel the impact behind every spell that you cast, and the controls are quick and responsive thanks to the virtual absence of lag. Now I will say the last hitting took a little bit of getting used to, and if I have one major complaint about the game, it's that the matches drag on. Most of my matches go over 40 minutes, and by that time you already know if you're gonna lose or win. Heroes of Newerth's concede function would be a welcomed addition. Like I said before, League of Legends seems like a much more aggressive game than the other 2. With the lack of denying and micromanaging, you have more time to focus on killing the enemy heroes. However, there are a couple things that got in the way of me completely enjoying my time with League of Legends. One was the art style, and the second was the lack of impact from the spells. Half of the time I couldn't tell what I was hitting with my spells because they basically had no tactile feedback, and the other half of the time I just felt like I was doing no damage to the enemy heroes. Another thing that didn't sit well with me is the fact that you can have duplicate heroes on each side. This eliminates the tactical decision of picking a hero that could counter somebody on your team. All that being said, League of Legends is not a bad game, it just has a couple of things that I don't quite agree with. If I had to sum up League of Legends in one word, I would call it simplified. I found last hitting to be the easiest in Heroes of Newerth. All of your attack animations are quick and responsive. I also found that the spells in Heroes of Newerth have a lot of impact behind them, as well as being very easy to track what's going on. Take for example Prophet. Prophet is a giant crow. Thusly, all of his spells have a spell effect with some type of crow around them. It's easy to tell what spell came from what hero and what you should avoid and what you should not. Heroes of Newerth's biggest shortcoming is definitely its community. Now, it's no big secret that MOBA communities are pretty terrible, but by far Heroes of Newerth has the worst. Leavers are rampant, and you'll have people who will feed deliberately just to get back at you personally as if you did something to them in real life. MOBA communities are already hard enough to endure. If you're a newcomer, I definitely would not recommend Heroes of Newerth to start with. Thank you guys for watching my analysis of League of Legends, Heroes of Newerth, and Dota 2. If you like this video in any way, I'm not going to ask you for a thumbs up or a subscribe, but I ask that you leave a comment letting me know what you liked about the video and what I can improve on. I plan on doing more of these types of videos in the future, so if you want to see something like that, then I would recommend that you subscribe. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later.